Hey, welcome again. I'm Evidence of Adolf, and we are going to talk about the elements of Roman civilization. The Roman civilization was marked by different elements which helped them to increase its civilization and development during the early ages. So the following are the elements of the Roman civilization. So the first element is architecture. Like other ancient communities, the Romans paid attention to architecture. The architecture borrowed from the Greek and the Etruscan ones. They also introduced the new designs and materials in their works. The Romans, for example, pioneered the use of concrete in the construction. Roman architectural works were hence an improvement over the earlier Greek ones. Roman civil engineering and building construction technology became developed and refined. Some of what they built have remained to date. For example, the Parthenon, with the one of the largest single-span domes in the world, a building still found in the business district of the present city of Rome. There was also the Colosseum, a theater which could accommodate 200,000 spectators. The Parthenon was a temple of all Roman gods. Roman architectural developments were found in virtually all the cities under its control and influence. A few examples are the Verona Arena in Verona, Italy, Park of Hadrian in Athens, Greek, Temple of Hadrian at Ephesus in Turkey, a theater at Orange in France, and Lepsis Magna in Libya, among others. The architectural works were visible in palaces, stadiums, temples, private dwellings, villas, public buildings, and hydraulics. Roman architectural works emphasized the grandeur. So, the following element is law. The early Roman Republic had a written code of law which was heavily based on custom. It was known as the 12 tables or tablets. They were written to make the interpretation of the law objective. Work of writing the law began in 451 BC. It involved a group of 10 officials. Upon finishing the work, the laws were carved on 12 tablets or tables and hung in the forum or the marketplace. These laws became the basis for future Roman law. They were based on the spirit of equality of all citizens to the law. Every individual had thus a duty to protect the law. Through the universal law, they were able to establish standards of justice that applied to all people. The standard of justice brought by the Romans included the principles that were recognizable by people. The individual was regarded innocent until proved guilty. Every suspected was allowed to face his or her accuser and himself or herself before a judge, who was expected to weigh the evidence carefully before making a verdict. The Roman law was based on the following principles. First, all persons had the right to equal treatment under the law. Second, a person was considered innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof rested with the accuser rather than the accused. Fourth, a person should be punished only for actions, not thoughts. Fifth, any law that seemed unreasonable or grossly unfair could be set aside. So the following element is in the government. From the earliest times, the Romans had this right of kingship and of a sole ruler. This was due to reasons they learned from the experience with the Etruscans. As a result, the Romans devised a complicated system of government. In the Roman Republic, the chief executive officers were the consuls and the praetors. 2 consuls chosen every year ran the government and led the Roman army into battle. In 366 BC, a new office, that of praetor, was created. The occupant was in charge of civil law. A consul's term was only 1 year, and once elected, he could not be elected again for 10 years. One consul could also overrule or veto the other's decision. The Senate was made up of a select group of about 300 land-owning men who served for life. It began by serving as an advisory body to government officials. Later, by the 3rd century BC, it got the force of law. Senators each year elected the patrician class to consuls. The power of the consuls was first checked by the Senate. Consuls' powers further checked by limitation of terms, where they could only serve for 1 term. Membership to the Senate was for life. There were also a number of assemblies in the Roman Republic. It was recognized by classes based on wealth. This assembly was fixed in such a way that the wealthiest citizens always had a majority. It elected the chief officials and passed his law. So, during the time of Roman civilization, their leaders were called Emperor Augustus, Caesar, Octavian. So he was the tyrant leader who ruled Rome during that civilization. So the second element is social organization. So in social organization, how it was: the family held a central place in the Roman society by law and custom. The custom power, or the household was vested exclusively in the eldest man, known as the pater familias, or the father of the family. This individual had absolute authority over the family. He controlled all family property. He could sell a member of his household into slavery or even kill any member of the family without penalty. The father was equally the individual protected the family, spoke on behalf of the family in the public assemblies or in law courts, or acted as the family's chief priest. So the second element is in education. So formal schooling began around 200 BC. In most of Roman Empire, pupils began to learn at around age 6 and spent the next 6 to 7 years in school. They learned basics of reading, writing, and counting. By age of 12, they were introduced to learning Latin, Greek, grammar, and literature, after which they undertook training for public speaking. Romans highly valued oratory. Good orators commanded respect for the rest of the society. It was for this reason that one of the objectives of education and learning was becoming an astute orator. So the second element of this Roman civilization was a language. The Romans' native language was Latin. This was a form of Italic language in the Indo-European family. There were several forms of Latin spoken in the empire. Silver Age Latin was the most popular. The language's alphabet originally came from the Greek one. Greek was spoken by the well-educated elite. Most of the literature studied by Romans was in Greek. Latin in this area was mostly used by Roman administrators and soldiers. Eventually, Greek replaced the Latin as both the official written and spoken language of the Eastern Empire. The Western Empire used Latin. Later Latin was spread in various dialects to Western Europe as a distinct Romance language, hence giving birth to Portuguese, Romania, French, Italian, and Spanish. So the following element is in literature. Roman literature, like its religion, was greatly inspired by the Greeks. The rest were historical epics which told the early history of Rome. Example, Augustus sponsored the historian Livy to document the history of Rome from its founding to the rule of Augustus. He did this in 142 Roman-style books. General Latin literature took many forms. The expansion of the empire culminated to expansion in the type of literary works. Writers began to produce poetry, comedy, history, and tragedy. Some of these works have survived in today. Example, histories of Tacitus, Julius Caesar, Garrick Walls, and Livy's History of Rome. During the reign of Augustus, the literature of the time is generally referred to as works of the Golden Epic. Most of literature of the Golden Age were vigorous, affirmative, and uplifting. It mainly served the political and the propaganda ends, whereas that of the Silver Age was characteristically less calm and balanced. Its effects are said to have relieved more often from self-conscious artifice. Most were intended to entertain than or instruct or uplift the mood of the reader. So, the second element is in music. Music, the society in Rome recognized and appreciated the vital role played by music in life in the entire empire. They graced both private and public events with the music. There was a music during nightly dining and military parades and maneuvers. Romans used a variety of musical instruments in their songs. Some of the main ones included the tuba, corno, russi, oscamle, frutti, panpipe, lile, lute, sitala, timpani, drums, hydroris, and the sistrum. So thank you for all of those who were just hearing me. The one thing that I'm going to end with is the philosophy, and then Roman philosophy heavily borrowed from its Greek predecessor. Two major philosophical schools, Cynicism and Stoicism, derived from Greek religion and philosophy became prominent in the Roman Empire in the 1st and 2nd century AD. Philosophy became prominent in the Roman Empire. These two philosophies were fairly merged in the early years of Roman Empire. The two philosophies expressed negative views on civilization, something which was reflected in their adherents' way of life. Cynicism upheld that civilization was corrupt and the people needed to break away from it and its trappings, while Stoicism, on the other hand, taught that one must surrender all three things against others. Apart from two philosophical schools mentioned above, there was also Epicureanism. The most renowned of its Roman exponents was Lucretius, of about 98 up to 35 BC.